This is West Coast from West Coast Design. You're watching NorCal Tonight. Too sweet. How's it going, everybody? This is Allstate Chris with another awesome episode of NorCal Tonight. I got AJ Kirsch with me, super excited. Same old. We're gonna shoot the shit and talk a little bit about this guy's career, man.
Let's do it, man. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate this very much. So, we'll just go straight at it, man. What got you into wrestling?
So I'd always been a casual fan in the 80s, like I knew of Hogan and Savage and all those guys, but it wasn't until I was flipping through channels in March of '96 that I just came across wrestling. I was like, well, I haven't watched wrestling in a while. Let's see what's going on. And for whatever reason, I was just hooked right off the bat. And it was right before it was going into WrestleMania 12 with Shawn Michaels against Bret Hart in the Iron Man match.
Cool stuff.
And then it was also just only 3 months before the phrase Austin 316 was born.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 weeks after that happened, Hulk Hogan joined the NWO at Bash at the Beach. So it was just a super exciting time to become a fan. And then once I learned about WCW, and then over here there's ECW making noise, I was just hooked. And, I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me when I say that it was a phase that I never grew out of.
That's a great analogy. I can agree with you on that. It's a phase you never grew out of. That's awesome, man. So what was it that made you want to get into wrestling? What moment,
I don't know that there was any one single moment that made me want to. That was just like, I just want to do this. But as I got into my teenage year, I was 12 when I was flipping through. I don't know if I said it or not, but I was 12 when I was flipping through channels, and so as I was getting into my teenage years, pro wrestling was evolving with me, which is why I think it was a phase that I never grew out of. So it was just like, I just fell more and more in love with it as it continued to evolve, and then it just got to the point where it was like, I wonder what it takes to actually give this a shot. Like, I'm such a big fan. I want to know. I think that's what it is. It's like, I'm such a big fan, and as much as I enjoy it from being a spectator, I want to know what it feels like being in that ring.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff, man. Wow. So how old were you when you got into training?
Oh, God. I started training in 2003, so I was 20, I think.
Wow.
And I didn't make my debut for 2 years. The combination of just taking my time, and also I broke my ankle 6 weeks into training, so that set me back a couple months.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because that got me acquainted with being a referee. Before I actually got back in the ring as a wrestler, I started out as a referee, so I got used to being in the ring and, what communication is like between the wrestlers in the ring, and how to listen to a crowd and react to a crowd, and it just got me comfortable being in front of a crowd before I was actually participating in a match.
Oh,
so if you're an aspiring wrestler, don't be afraid to put on the stripes and get in there. It'll get you comfortable real quick.
Absolutely, man. I mean, the ref plays a huge role in the match, I would assume. The ins and outs, but
if you do it right, you're not even supposed to be noticed.
Yeah.
But there's people who are not within the business of pro wrestling have no idea how much of an important role the referee plays.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. So you said it took about 2 years to your debut match?
To my debut match.
Awesome.
Yep.
Who was that?
It was against my trainer, Mr. Primetime.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And trained at PCW at the time it was in Yuba City. Now they're out of Oroville, I think. Yeah. And I could not have asked it to have gone any better for my first match. I was just terrified going into it, but when you're wrestling the person who trained you, it was just, he made it not only easy, but he made it fun. And so to be able to have fun in my debut match and not just be terrified was, I will always be thankful for that. So thank you, MPT, for bringing me up right.
Well, that's good stuff. That's good stuff, man. And you've definitely gone places, man. I mean, we've seen Tough Enough, Larry King, and there's just been a number of times that you were able to branch out of just the ring.
Yeah. And I feel like you have to, too. It helps. When pro wrestling is such it's like just this melting pot of all different forms of entertainment. And so the way I looked at it was, the more experience I get in these other avenues of entertainment, the more experience I can bring back and help my performance in pro wrestling. But also, my experience in pro wrestling has helped in those other avenues of entertainment as well, because you're everything, it's all just telling a story. And pro wrestling, you're telling a story with your body, with your face, with the illusion of a fight with you and your opponent, and it just made transitioning a lot easier than I think it would have been otherwise.
How long after you debuted did you get that call to do the Tough Enough stuff?
So I debuted in 2005, and I got word, I think I just saw it floating around on social media around the end of 2010 that they were bringing Tough Enough back. And I was just like, you know what? Somebody has to be on that show. I think it should be me. Why not me? Like, let's give it a shot. So I enlisted the services of a videographer friend, Mike Fadum, and he, filmed me at my job and filmed me working out. And I was familiar enough with, I think it was just like iMovie or something, that I was just able to put together a tape and sent it in. And after an exhaustive interview process, I was picked to be one of the cast members on Tough Enough, and it was just, to this day, I'm just supremely thankful for my time on Tough Enough, and as a fan and as an aspiring WWE superstar, which was the goal at the time, I just felt like I won the life lottery. It was
I bet,
amazing.
Man. That's awesome. That was the same season with Stone Cold, right? Mm-hmm. Wasn't he running the whole show there? That
Stone
time?
Cold was the host.
Oh, that's cool.
The trainers were Bill DeMott, Booker T, and Trish Stratus. And right, exactly.
That's exciting. You're like, oh man.
It was just another moment in my career where I was like terrified because I'm training under these legends and icons in wrestling, but also just surreal is the word I keep going back to.
Surreal.
Just absolutely surreal.
I ask a lot of guests on my show, like, if you had any surreal moments. On my ride up here, I thought, like, this guy probably has 10, 15, right?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough that I've been able to enjoy a handful of surreal moments.
Yeah.
Tough Enough was one just 2-month-long surreal moment. And then they invited us to be guests at WrestleMania that year.
Oh, yeah?
And then they had us back on Monday Night Raw for the prior to the finale of Tough Enough. So, again, just a unbelievable experience that, again, it changed both my wrestling career and I think, my career outside of wrestling as well. So just to this day, supremely thankful for my time on top.
Well, they say wrestling, I think one of the most important things is just being seen. By the masses. As many people that can see you as possible, you want, right?
Right.
So given that opportunity definitely puts you in the limelight, I guess you can say a little bit, right?
Oh, absolutely. Just being on WWE TV is... And after my time on Tough Enough, I found out just, again, how that audience, that WWE universe is just huge, and they really never forget. They never, ever forget. So for the little string of time that I was able to ride that wave after Tough Enough, people, coming out to see me just because, I was on WWE TV was just something I was just, again, just very thankful for.
Very cool stuff. Just a kind of little personal story. I have a friend of mine. His kid was really excited that I was going to interview you.
Oh, yeah?
The kids, they have the ins because I'm on the phone and talking.
Sure.
And it's because of the WWE Network, and right now they're watching you do the Tough Enough gig. And I thought, that's pretty cool.
That is cool. And actually, I wanted to mention that too. Like, because of the WWE Network and Tough Enough, the 2011 season is on there now. Like, I still get people hitting me up on Twitter or Facebook from time to time. And so it's nice to know that people are still watching it and still enjoying it and still curious about what I'm doing.
Absolutely, man. They're probably still hoping to see you there one day, right?
Don't hold your breath.
Well, you're doing fairly well right now, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, your goals and aspirations change over time.
They have.
You said before you wanted to be a part of WWE TV on a regular, and I'm sure that's not the case so much today.
It's not. WWE was the goal, and I think for a lot of people breaking into wrestling, that is the goal. It's like, it's the biggest stage, that's where the fame is, the money is, and obviously if you can make a great deal of money doing what you love, that's the dream for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
But since Tough Enough, and it was not an easy realization to come to, but what pro wrestling, what the WWE in particular was becoming, was not the business that I fell in love with as a kid and wanted to be a part of. Like, because since the Attitude Era, which I don't think many people will argue was the pinnacle of pro wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. I mean, WWE became a publicly traded company, so they had stockholders to answer to, and they started gearing their product toward a TV PG audience, which does not leave nearly as much creative freedom for the performer. And so because of a bunch of, and also on paper, being a WWE superstar is a rough gig. I mean, you're on the road, what, 300 plus days a year?
Yeah.
You're beating yourself up 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
The travel, there's no off season. I mean, the only time you get off is pretty much if you get hurt. And, you know, there's no union or anything.
Yeah.
Like, they are at the mercy of their contracts. And so, you know, just after taking all those things into consideration, I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy myself with the WWE. And I may be wrong. Like, who knows? Like, had I gotten signed, I may have just loved it more than I ever thought I would have. But that's the way I was feeling at the time, and I'm glad I was, because today I've never been happier or more fulfilled with my place in pro wrestling.
That's exciting stuff, man. And so this kind of brings us. So that was you said about 2011 is when the Tough Enough stuff happened.
Yeah, it's early spring of 2011.
About how long after that did the Larry King interview roll around? Because I was surprised. So when I started going to independent wrestling about 3 years ago. Fell in love with Hood Slam.
Yeah.
So I did some research on looking up the guys that I liked. You know, obviously I really enjoyed your commentary and the whole gig. I love it. So I was looking stuff up and I see a picture with you and Larry King. And I go, whoa, dude, this is awesome. You know, so how did that come about?
So I've always been a self-described social media whore.
Oh, okay.
By the way, you can follow me on Twitter at AJ Kirsch, and you can add me on Facebook. I accept all friend requests. Instagram, YouTube, I'm all over the place. Social
all
media
AJ
whore.
Kirsch too, right?
All at AJ Kirsch. Well, except for YouTube, which is I am AJ Kirsch, but I don't do a whole lot on there. So don't worry about it.
You can subscribe though.
Subscribe. You can still subscribe. Something's gonna pop up there.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. So anyway, at the time, after Tough Enough, WWE was working very closely with a video sharing service called Tout.
Oh yeah.
So remember
really?
Tout. So Tout was doing 15-second video clips before Instagram was doing video clips.
Yeah.
So at the time, they were the premier video sharing social media platform. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I was just getting acquainted with Tout because they were working with WWE, and at the time I still wanted to get signed. So, and then I just see a tout sent out by Larry King saying, "Send me a tout why you think you make a good guest for my show, and you could end up on the show." Interviewed by me, Larry King. And I was, again, same thing with Tough Enough. I was just like, you know what? Somebody has to win that, and I think it should be me.
Yeah.
Why not? And I knew that Larry King was a wrestling fan because he's done cross-promotional stuff with the WWE before. He's had WWE superstars on his show. Yeah. He guest hosted Raw some week, several years ago. So I was just like, maybe I can play off of that a little bit. And so again, after an exhaustive process with videos and interviews and all this stuff, I was invited to be a guest on his show.
That's cool, man.
And yeah, so that just another one of those surreal moments where, you know, I don't think it would have happened without Tough Enough, but it gave me a platform. I mean, just being interviewed by Larry King was insane. But, you know, I was like able to shout out my mom. I was able to shout out Vince McMahon. Yeah. I talked about Tough Enough, and I called Larry King bro, which was really cool. And, but most importantly, I got to talk about why I was okay with not getting signed by the WWE, and that was because of Hood Slam.
Oh, nice. Care to elaborate on that a little bit?
I mean, where do I start?
When did Hood Slam? I know a lot of the answers to some of these questions, but let's say they don't. When did Hood Slam become Hood Slam? When was that idea born?
Well, I wasn't there for it, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I came on a little bit later, but Hood Slam has been around. I mean, we're coming up on FTF 7 this October.
Ooh,
so it's, you know, you're looking at about 7 years. And, you know, it started out in a shitty little warehouse. Can I swear?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Fuck yeah. Started out in a shitty little warehouse in Oakland in front of less than nobody. Like, in front of just whoever was there at the time. And, you know, now we're having, I mean, fast forward and we're having shows with anywhere from 700 to 1,000 people every first Friday of the month, the Oakland Metro Opera House. And so just, I didn't join on until Hood Slam just recently joined, or until Hood Slam recently started at the Oakland Metro. Oh, so they had just moved from the warehouse to the Metro, and you know, it was still just in front of maybe 200, 250 people, which is a good draw. It's a good draw for an indie show.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Just through, I mean, consistency and creative characters and unbelievably talented roster, and really word of mouth more than anything else. I mean, it doesn't matter how many posts on Facebook or tweets or Instagram or anything like that. When you have somebody come up to you and be like, dude, I went to this show called Hood Slam last Friday night, and it was the craziest shit I've ever seen. You gotta go. You gotta go next time.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that. And so when those things all combine, it created what we like to refer to it as the accidental phenomenon. And it's no less exciting for me now than it was my first show. And it just gets more exciting for me as a performer every month. And that's something that wasn't happening with me with just pro wrestling as usual. I was just kind of like, man, I don't even want to put my gear on tonight. I gotta lace my boots, and I would be talking with my opponent and he'd be like, hey, what do you want to do tonight? And I'd be like, I don't know, as little as possible. I don't want to do much.
So the passion was dwindling. The fire was starting to go out.
There were no butterflies anymore. I didn't realize this at the time. I still loved pro wrestling, but it was just what pro wrestling had become was just bland and a very limited and linear genre of a wide open form of entertainment. And so Hood Slam, for me as a performer, and I think for a lot of fans that come to Hood Slam, is that breath of fresh air that pro wrestling needs now, maybe even more than ever. I mean, we're seeing alternatives out there, like Lucha Underground is doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, there really hasn't been much of an alternative. You've got TNA, Impact Wrestling, but they're really they became kind of WCW 2.0, just with all the WWE guys coming in there.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Not a lot of difference from WWE, and
it seems as if, and this is just my own opinion, that the envelope stopped being pushed. Mm-hmm. And that people were starting to be content with a format that they felt worked. And one of the biggest reasons I'm a Hood Slam fan is you guys just kind of said, "Fuck that format."
Yeah.
We're gonna do something that we want to do, and we're gonna do it different. And I don't see a lot of Hood Slam storylines being copied from WWE.
No.
You see that in indie wrestling, they copy this because everything's copied.
Right.
Everything.
Right. It's easier to imitate than come up with your own
not
stuff.
too many aliens in WWE.
No.
And that's some shit you're gonna
few.
see at Hood Slam.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. We're gonna just take a quick break. We're gonna come back more with AJ Kirsch. Exciting stuff. We'll be right back.
Amigos, les habla el Cero Miedo de la Lucha Libre Pentagonio para mandar un agradecimiento a mis amigos de West Coast por los flyers que nos regalaron para la lucha de FW. Ya saben, mi gente, puro cero.
All right, we're back with AJ Kirsch. We were talking a little bit about Hood Slam and how they're just, kind of changing the game, as they would say, for professional wrestling. So when you first came into Hood Slam, were you wrestling or were you commentating as you are now?
So when I first came into Hood Slam, I was a commentator right off the bat. But I came in as AJ Kirsch. No gimmick or nothing.
Oh, okay.
Because Bill DeMott, one of the trainers on Tough Enough, I was just hitting him up for advice. I'm just like, what do I do now that Tough Enough is over? And he's just like, work
cool.
as many places as you can.
Yeah.
And I hadn't worked Hood Slam prior to Tough Enough, so so on social media I just see people talking about the show, and I was like, I haven't worked here. It's in Oakland. I'm in Berkeley. It's right here. Why don't you check it out?
Yeah.
So I dropped by, and I was lucky enough to. I was like, "Do you need anybody on the card?" And Sam, the booker, was just like, "No, but you want to do commentary?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll do commentary." And it was me and Kevin Gill at the time.
Oh, that's exciting.
So it was just AJ Kirsch though, because it was a wrestling show, and I thought people would recognize me from Tough Enough and be like, "Oh, that was the guy from TV. That's cool."
Yeah.
But I quickly realized that the Hood Slam crowd is not your typical wrestling crowd. They didn't care that I was on Tough Enough. A lot of them didn't even know what Tough Enough was.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's great, because that gives me the ability to be a character. And they're not just going to be like, oh, that's just AJ from Tough Enough. I could be whoever I wanted, because up to that point, I was just AJ Kirsch from Tough Enough. And as a performer, that kind of sucks because it's fun to go out there and be a character and take a part of your personality and amplify it as loud as you possibly can. With me, after Tough Enough, I was just AJ Kirsch. They knew me on Tough Enough as just AJ Kirsch, not a gimmick or anything. So I was like, the 15 minutes from curtain to curtain that I usually get to go out there and be a character, I was stuck just being me. Which, as a performer, is incredibly stifling and almost suffocating, which is one of the reasons why I just think I was just like, I don't really want to do much tonight. I don't want to put my gear on. I've been me the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of today. Let me go out there and be an asshole.
And I'm sure promoters wanted to push the Tough Enough.
Right? Exactly.
Like, but you're AJ Kirsch from Tough Enough. So.
And I'm like, but it's boring.
I made you want to get a mask or something.
I made me want to do, like, change it up somehow. But, like, I remember Adam Thornstowe, I don't know if he tweeted something or posted on Facebook or something, but he attended a camp, I think, and he posted this on social media somewhere that just really got me thinking. He's like, and I think either, I don't know if it was Danny Davis or some trainer at OVW or Florida Championship Wrestling or wherever it was at the time, this was before it was NXT, said, you need to look at yourself naked in the mirror every day and ask yourself, are people willing to pay money to watch me wrestle? And so I understood the naked part because it's like, if you don't look the part, if you look like a fucking schlub, like who's gonna pay money to watch a pear-shaped pro wrestler? You know what I mean? Like they could look outside and just watch somebody walking down the street.
Go watch some bum fights or something.
Yeah, exactly. So that just stuck with me, and I wouldn't pay money to watch AJ Kirsch wrestle, but it didn't matter who I was at Hood Slam, so I got the creative juices flowing and wanted to come up with a character, and the best characters are always shreds of your own personality that you can amplify to the nth degree. So, I was a gym rat, so I was working out all the time. I went to school at Chico State, which is a notorious party school, and frat culture is huge at Chico State. I was never in a frat, though. I want to make that clear. And I'd been a bouncer in San Francisco at one of the douchiest clubs ever. And so I was just dealing with these assholes all the time.
Oh, man.
And so also I am a Shameless Nickelback fan. People think I'm kidding. I fucking love Nickelback.
I thought it was a joke.
It's not. That's a shoot. That is a shoot straight from the head.
Shout out Nickelback.
I fucking love Nickelback.
Oh, that's awesome.
I fucking love them.
That's awesome. I can actually envision your character being built with just everything you're describing
exactly
right now.
So it's like you take all of these ingredients and put them together, and you get this just raging alpha male ultra douchebag bro named Brosif Joe Brody. And I finally had... I'd been a face for so long with Tough Enough, just as AJ Kirsch, like, yeah, I'm AJ Kirsch, I was on TV. Who fucking cares?
Look, I have blue tights.
Yeah, exactly. Shiny Legend of Zelda tights. Yay!
I'm AJ Kirsch. That's funny.
Yeah, that's it. And it's like, I was just a smiley, happy baby face for so long. I wanted to be a fucking... fuck you in the face heel. And so Brosif Joe Brody was born, and God, I have so much fun doing that character. Largely because a lot of it is character, but a lot of it is me. But I just get to be an asshole to people, which is fun.
Yeah, it's just it's your personality amplified.
And it's a certain parts of my personality amplified. But it is... Every first Friday is a bit of a cathartic release because I just get to go out there in front of hundreds of people and just be as rude and just vile and visceral and merciless as I want to be, and it feels really good.
So, I've always felt like if you're going to be a pro wrestler, Hood Slam to me feels like one of those places where it's like you can stand up on the ring ropes and go, damn, look at that, I did it, didn't I? I'm a pro wrestler right now.
Yeah.
This is happening.
And that's one of the moments too. That's every month it's one of those surreal moments where I'm just so thankful for my position at Hood Slam because other than the Hood Slam band, I'm the first out there. I'm the first character out there.
Yes.
And so the crowd and it's on a Friday night, so everybody's all wound up from the week before. They just want to go out and rage and have a good time. So I get to go out there and just absorb all of this energy when it's at its freshest and just most ready to explode. And so when I get out there and I step up on the second ropes and I'm just like, I'm looking out over the crowd and people are flipping me off and yelling, fuck you. And I see puffs of smoke coming up and people drinking. And like, that's just one of those moments where I'm just like, I'm doing it. I'm fucking doing it right now.
Yeah.
And there's no feeling like it.
It's that fire got relit, right?
The fire definitely got relit.
The butterflies were back. And
oh, every time.
Yeah.
And far more than any other moment in my career, those butterflies were there. Like, I'm more nervous before a hood slam than I was before a challenge on Tough Enough, before walking out on Monday Night Raw, before I got slaughtered by Brodus Clay on the 2011 edition of WWE Superstars. Like, I get so nervous and excited before a hood slam that it's hard to put into words. And that's one of the reasons why I absolutely treasure every show.
How long has it been that you've opened the show like that? Has it always...
Well, the intro to the show has gone through a bunch of different formats. Like, we tried me and KG back when we were doing it together coming out first, and then we tried the band coming out first, and eventually we just settled on what felt right, which is the band coming out first, doing the Terminator theme.
Oh, that's awesome.
I get the crowd pumped up. Yeah.
I still do as a fan. I get chills. As soon as you hear bum, 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 I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
And the whole crowd, they're slapping the mat, and it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, there's no guardrails around the ring if you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, they're right up in the thick of the action. And so, when the Terminator theme starts, and then that's when the adrenaline kicks in for me too. I'm backstage just like a caged animal, just pacing back and forth, just like, oh my god, I'm about to lose my mind. And then when it's like, when I do that whole intro and it's like, mother, and slam, that's my moment right there. After that's when I get to that point, that's when I just yell at the top of my lungs, and I'm just like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Over the last few hood slams, I've noticed that the crowd's really starting to go along with you.
Oh, and that's such a cool feeling.
They're really starting to catch almost the whole thing.
Yeah.
Don't fucking throw shit. And everything, you know?
And that's when it's another moment too where I'm just like, even prior to the show when I'm going over the rules, they are right there with me. But then my whole intro where I'm like, it's the first Friday of the month, like the entire 2 or 3 rows of people are just saying it right along with me, and that's when I'm just, again, it's just
blood is pumping.
Oh my god, can't even describe.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. And then calling the action, you don't really hold any. Is that all just free flow? You're just.
I want to know as little as possible.
Really? So that's all just improv?
That's all improv.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I mean, some people
magic on the mic, man. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Some people will come up to me before and just be like, hey, I just want to make sure that you get the name of this move over, or keep an eye out for this, or say, I prefer if you said this at a certain time, but I want to know as little as possible because I'm still a fan. I'm going on this ride with the fans. I'm just the person that gets to call it as it happens.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just off the top of my dome.
Your dialogue is extremely relatable to the fans as well.
Well,
sometimes I feel like I'd say the same thing you said.
Yeah. Well, we're all fans.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all fans of Hood Slam, even if the people in the crowd are not fans of pro wrestling. And so, it's not like we're trying to, and that's one of the things that makes Hood Slam so liberating as a performer, is that we're not trying to maintain the guise that what they're watching is a genuine athletic contest.
Yes.
Like, Hood Slam is pro wrestling with a wink and a smile. Everybody's in on the joke. Yeah. So it's not like I have to try to maintain the illusion of a fight. So if something doesn't go according to plan,
fuck the fans.
Fuck the fans. Like, if something doesn't go according to plan, I will say that it didn't go according to plan, or like,
well, shit, that didn't work out like it was supposed to.
Yeah. Like a couple shows ago, we had aliens come in to join the Intergalactic Tag Team Championship tournament. And I was like, that's totally not a garbage can with Dixie cups on it. That is a flying saucer because it's pro wrestling. And
that's right.
And the fans get a good chuckle out of it, and they're more willing to go along with it rather than me being like, oh my god, it's a fucking spaceship.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, I try to sell it like that at the beginning, but then it's just like, as you get a better look at it, like, we're not trying to fool anybody.
Well, it's just like what Vince McMahon said that back in the day, right? We're not trying to insult your intelligence.
Right.
And we all know what it is.
Yeah.
Let's just have fucking fun with it.
Well, he said that as the Attitude Era started picking up, but I feel like WWE and pro wrestling as a whole kind of slipped back into that, like, because the audience they're going for, they are trying to convince them that it's real. So for grown-ass adults, it's like, can you please just not? I want to like pro wrestling. Can you please just not insult my intelligence?
Yes.
Like,
Fans nowadays, when it comes to WWE, they're more so like, why'd you book that guy against that guy?
Right.
Compared to like the kid who's saying, oh my God, John Cena just beat that guy.
Right.
You know?
They want to be the armchair bookers.
Yes.
And,
exactly.
but that's just because their views on pro wrestling have changed, and pro wrestling has changed. And it just,
it has.
for a lot of people, it hasn't changed in the positive. But that's why Hood Slam, we're going in completely the opposite direction as WWE. We're trying to make it as absurd as we possibly can, and we're being like, fuck you, you're going to enjoy this. And at the end of the night, the fans are like, oh, fuck me, you were right.
Yeah, and you're marketing to an adult crowd.
21 and over. Don't bring your fucking kids.
Yeah, no fucking kids.
It's one of the slogans.
Yeah.
Just like, in case there's any confusion.
It says it on the shirt.
Yeah,
You know?
don't bring your fucking kids.
I've worn the Ninja Turtle style one to many a store.
Yes.
And people check, they look, and then they go, wait a minute, what's that?
Right.
Where's this don't bring your fucking kids shit at?
Well,
you know?
that's the whole idea. Like, between like the Nintendo logo, the Ninja Turtle stuff, like we want people to do like a double take and be like, oh, I love the Ninja. Oh, wait a minute. What's Hood Slam?
Yeah.
Hey man, tell me more about Hood Slam.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I'm a big supporter. If anyone ever mentions the name, I'm always like, oh, you gotta go check that shit out.
Oh yeah, and
Definitely.
we see your tweets and everything.
Yeah,
You're always get people to follow people, and you're just always retweeting stuff. So we do appreciate it.
No, absolutely. The way I see it is, if you're gonna come to NorCal, that's the shit you want to see. Not saying anything else is bad or different or whatever, but that crowd, that feel, it's very original, one of a kind. And if you're a wrestling fan, it's just something you don't want to miss.
Right, because it is so different. Like, it's the type of thing that every wrestling fan, I feel like, should experience. And if it's not your cup of tea, then that's cool. But I think a lot of fans will walk out of a Hood Slam and they're just like, I can't believe how much I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and I've always said too, there's multiple flavors of wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
It depends on what you like, you know? But if you give it a chance once, just like you said, when you walk out, there's no way you're going to have anything negative to say.
Right.
Because just the environment and the experience and,
the energy of the fans and the performers, they give it everything. I've never once heard, hey, what do you want to do tonight, as little as possible. I've never once heard that in the Hood Slam locker room. Everybody goes out there with the goal of setting that room on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to name drop Drugs Money. You know, you see the Daniel Bryan, the yes thing was way over, so he swapped that for the drugs.
Right, everybody loves drugs.
And there's literally 800 people in there, all with their fingers pointed to the sky. Adults.
Right.
You know? And that's for me where that's where the energy lies for me, because I'm like, wow, for this brief moment, all of us adults in here, suspended disbelief. Yeah. And we're fans again.
Right. And so
we don't question that shit.
Right, and there's no reason to question it. Exactly. And like, even if you are a wrestling fan, you remember the Daniel Bryan, yes. When you find yourself going drugs, in the back of your mind, you're just like, oh, this is way more fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And cheap plug, by the way, you can like Hood Slam on Facebook, follow on Twitter and Instagram @Hood Slam. Just plug in Hood Slam into YouTube. You're going to find all kind of crazy shit. And the official website is birdswillfall.com. If you're a wrestling fan of any kind, do yourself a favor and check out motherfucking Hood Slam.
And we'll take it one step further too. Hood Slammery. $1.99.
Yep.
$2.
$2 a month.
That's less than an energy drink.
Yes, that's the change in your couch right now. Can get you monthly access to every Hood Slam ever recorded. Boom. And live streaming of First Friday shows, and when live streaming. Yeah. So if you can't make it out to the Metro, if you don't want to be around that many people, if it's too hot, too loud, you don't like the medication that's happening, $2 a month and you get a live stream of the show as it happens.
Well, actually, to touch on that, I'd like to mention that the Metro is at a new location. It's been a
couple months now,
about 5-6 months, I don't know.
Yeah.
But they actually have a whole area with a monitor, big TV,
got a
big
seating,
TV, and if you can't handle the large crowd and, like you said, the medication, there's a whole little lobby area for you to still enjoy.
Right. Lets you get off your feet for a while, because the main room is standing room only.
Yeah.
So if you need a breather, if you want to get away from all the noise, because it gets fucking loud in there.
Yeah.
There's like a place with like 30 or 40 seats in front of a monitor where you can just chill and enjoy the show.
And I do believe that's right next to the merch table.
Indeed it is.
It's right next to the merch table.
And you can pick up
all
merch,
the goods,
Hood
right?
Slam band CDs, shirts from your favorite Hood Slammers,
Yeah.
shot glasses, bunny noses.
Shot glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. That's cool.
Shot glasses are out there, yeah.
I need to visit the merch table.
Drop by, man.
I'm
We
gonna
got some
have
good
to.
stuff.
I'm gonna have to. If I missed the shot glass, obviously I haven't been there. So soon enough. But so that's awesome as shit, man. So at this point, though, your career, what I've noticed, and a lot of other people, because we like to follow the best. No, I'm kidding. But what I've noticed is that you started to transition in a different direction, and that you're starting to take on acting gigs. I see some of they're a little vague because I know that they keep you from telling the full detail of what's going on. But you are doing a lot of auditions and auditions.
Yeah.
And so how's that going?
Well, really well actually. Like my
Awesome.
agency is constantly finding auditions for me, and
that's cool.
I mean anything from commercials to movies to voiceovers, print stuff. Like I'm not too picky. Like I will take whatever comes my way, and it's I always have fun doing it. When you can get paid to be a professional pretender, to just use your imagination, you know what I mean?
Oh, I love that. Professional
I
pretender.
want to be a professional pretender.
Yeah.
Like that's what. If you're an actor, if you're in the WWE, if you're playing a role, you're being paid to be a professional pretender. You're getting paid to do make believe.
Right, you're
which
playing.
is fucking
like
amazing.
you were 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that's good. Yeah.
And so it's going really well, and because of the hosting and the commentary and stuff that I've done at Hood Slam, like I've been able to branch out and do other announcing gigs. I recently did. I was the cage announcer for the Lingerie Fighting Championships.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an all-female MMA league, and I was the cage announcer for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know when this is going to air, but this Saturday I'm going to be calling my first ever tractor pull, which is going to be like, yeah, I know, right?
Oh, that's cool.
It's going to be a tractor pull and a truck tug of war and a wet t-shirt contest and like raffles and stuff, and it just sounds like a great time.
Yeah.
So it's just cool to be branching out and trying new stuff. But again, I don't think any of it would have happened without my time on Tough Enough and without the chops I picked up behind the mic at Hood Slam.
That is awesome, man. We're gonna take one more quick break, and we'll be right back with AJ Kirsch. All right, we're back. So we were talking a little bit about your acting career, just to name a few things that I've seen you do over time. So is it I Almost Got Away with It?
Almost Got Away with It. Yeah, that was my first leading role on a TV show.
Oh, boom! Look at that.
And I
started off at the right spot.
Yeah. And that was an absolute blast. It shot over a week straight, so it was like my first project where it was just like several days of shooting right in a row. And it was just, again, it was just being a professional pretender. And it was just, I got to shoot a prison break and a prison brawl. And like, I got to get my beloved undead zombie car, which I retired last year.
I remember that.
Yeah, they were like, do you have a car? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, is it between this year and this year? Is it a little dinged up? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, can we use it for the show? I'm like, yes, you can. I was so excited to get her on that.
Oh man, she needs a trailer too, though. No, that's cool. I remember I'm a social media whore too, so I do remember you going through. I think you took it on one last long road trip, right? And then you ended up.
Took her back and forth to Long Beach about this time a year ago. Just took some time off of work and was house sitting for a friend down there, but I had like a couple shows up here, so I was going back and forth. And it was a 1997 Ford Taurus, one engine, one transmission, and she got over 300,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of oil changes.
It is, yeah. And that's why I call her my undead zombie car, because she's died and come back to life so many times.
Oh man.
But hit 300,000 miles. I was able to retire her, and even freaking California gave me $1,000 to take her off the road because it was no longer an environmentally friendly vehicle. So a car that maybe was worth $200 on Kelley Blue Book got me $1,000. So
That's
I'm just
what I'm
like
talking
perfect
about.
way to
That's
send her
cool.
off into that giant highway in the sky.
Oh, that's awesome. They paid you to get it off the road.
Exactly.
That's
I was
great.
like, okay.
So, you know what's funny? I might as well just transition straight into the question. Since your undead zombie car was with you for so long, do you have any funny road trip stories that you'd care to share?
God, I have a ton of road trip stories actually, between cross-country road trips and Burning Man for like 7 years, and wrestling road trips and everything. I don't think we have time for any of them. That might be for the follow-up. There are so many memories. I kept the rear view mirror because my entire adult life is in the rear view mirror of that car.
Oh, that's cool.
If that rear view mirror could talk, it would say some shit.
It knows a little too much.
It
Right?
does, yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. So after the almost got away with it, next thing to come to my mind is dating naked.
Yeah.
So you took that advice from I think you said Danny Davis to
Yeah.
the next level.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Stand naked in front of my mirror.
Oh,
I can do
that's
reality TV. Why not?
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Is that where you? Was that what was next? Was dating naked, or did you have anything in between the two?
No, actually, it was almost got away with it. Was I think around March of that year, and then Dating Naked was June.
Oh man,
So it was-
you're working.
2014 was a really good year for career stuff. And you know, I just saw I'm signed up with a couple casting websites that just send out casting call emails, and it was the first season, so it was like untitled dating show, and I was just like, okay, let's look into this, and it was like. Participants will be completely naked, and I was just like, I can be naked. Like, what's the big deal? Like, everybody acts like whatever they got between their legs is some big fucking secret, and it's not. It's really not. It's not a big deal.
It's not anymore.
Yes.
It isn't anymore.
Yeah.
No
Well, also,
secret
I knew it was VH1. It wasn't
Yeah.
Showtime, so
Yeah.
it was like they were gonna blur out the bits and pieces.
No Skinamax.
No, it wasn't Skinamax, exactly. So
How was that experience?
It was
fun?
great. I had so much fun. I shot in Panama over a week in June, so it was like they paid me to be on vacation in a tropical paradise and be a part of a reality show. And it was the perfect like scenery and weather to be naked.
I was just gonna say you don't even have to worry about what to wear.
No, it was easy. I packed
Wardrobe.
I
was
packed
easy.
so light for that trip. I packed super
that's
light.
funny stuff.
And so it was like, and it really didn't matter that we were naked. Like as soon as if one of us had been naked but the other one not, I could understand how it might be a little weird. But like as soon as I saw her and she saw me, it was like, here's mine, there's yours, who cares?
All right.
Let's have some fun with this. Like in fact, when I met the Liddy, the main girl on the show, I was one of the main guys, she was one of the main girls. I was like, hey, I'm AJ, and this is my cock and balls. Like that's a good icebreaker, right? That's how often would I be able to introduce myself by saying that?
Yeah.
Probably
That's
once.
a hell of a handshake.
Yeah, exactly.
That is good stuff.
Only
man.
one time I'm going to introduce myself like that, and if I do it twice, I might end up in jail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That is good stuff.
yeah, and and I honest to God did come back more comfortable in my own skin because it's not just the person I'm dating in front of me. There's like sound people holding the boom mic. There's camera people. There's producers. There's a team of like 10 or 12 people around you at all times, and they're all working. They don't give a shit that you're naked.
Yeah,
They've already been filming this for a couple
They signed
weeks.
up for the same thing you did, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't matter. It
I
was,
love how it said untitled dating.
Untitled, yeah. And then they
That's
picked
funny.
the super creative title, Dating Naked. Way to go, guys.
Oh man, that's great. So after that, it was just a lot of commercials, or
So commercials, I mean, little print stuff here and there, nothing too big.
The Rock. You were in. I've heard stories.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen a still of it yet, but I've heard stories that you were like in the background.
Yeah, so
San
actually,
Andreas.
that was later that summer. San
Man,
Andreas.
this guy's working. That's cool.
Yeah, San Andreas was shooting in San Francisco, and you know, my agency was just like, hey, there's this movie, and they're like, didn't you do a show with The Rock? And I'm like, yeah, I did. So they, let me be an extra in the movie, and it's like, I mean, you gotta pause it, and you gotta know where to look exactly when, but my face does pop up like a little over an hour and 10 minutes. Like I'm a National Guardsman that's just like herding people away from this natural disaster area. So.
Yeah.
It was cool because I sent out a tweet to The Rock, hoping he'd remember me from Tough Enough from the set, just saying like, hey man, I was hoping our paths were going to cross. It would have been cool to see you since Tough Enough. Yeah. I think he was like doing press for Hercules or whatever he was working on at the time, so he wasn't on set. But he tweeted me back several weeks later saying, hey bro, I just saw, he called me bro, which I popped for him.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
like,
there you go.
He's like, hey bro, I just saw this. Sorry we didn't run into each other. I'm sure I'll see you down the road. Keep kicking ass and keep dating naked. Which I didn't know he knew about. And I didn't know how he knew about it. But he knew about me being on Dating Naked, which is like, that's cool that I'm still on his radar. Yeah. And in fact, I don't know if you saw that he's doing this promo contest for his YouTube channel, but I'm actually going to be
Somebody's got to win it.
Somebody's got to win it. I think
it should be AJ.
I think it should be me as Brosif.
That's right.
And I'm hoping that he sees it, and I'm hoping that he just remembers the promo. I say something in the promo that's just like, you know, it won't be the first time The Rock crowned me the winner of a promo contest, bro. So I'm hoping he sees that and is just like, I wonder what that means. But like, you know, I've crossed paths with The Rock and I made an impression on him with my time on Tough Enough, and he's one of the hottest things in the world right now. So it's like I'm doing everything in my power to keep that contact warm, and you know, who knows what it could turn into.
I'm Broseph Joe Brody, bro. I hail from the highest peak of Mount Brolympus. I'm the voice of Hood Slam in Brooklyn, California, and I am guaranteed to bro your mind.
Check it out, bro. If $7 Broductions wants a true professional with an extensive vocabulary such as myself, then you're looking at your 2016 Rock the Promo champion, bro. And hey, bro, this won't be the first time The Rock declared me the winner of a promo contest, bro. But hey, I'm not beneath bribery, bro. I'll show up to your door with a dozen broses, a carton of protein powder, we'll hit the gym, enjoy a romantic dinner for two, and when I'm crowned the 2016 Rock the Promo champion, it's gonna be an explosion of epic proportions. Did I just bro your mind?
Have you crossed paths with any other, I don't want to say stars, I don't like using that phrase, but any other WWE guys you crossed paths with that maybe gave you, outside of Tough Enough, obviously.
Sure. You know, at the end of 2013, Stone Cold invited me to be on his podcast to kind of just checking in. I know you said outside of Tough Enough.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine.
So I think he interviewed me, Martin Casaus, and Jeremiah, I think. Just to see what we were up to, and you know, I was able to talk to him about Hood Slam and Larry King and all this stuff.
I love it, man. It always comes back to it, huh?
It does, yeah. I mean, and it's because it's the greatest joy in my professional career right now is Hood Slam, because it's pro wrestling, which is what I've loved longer than anything else, and it's a type of pro wrestling that just genuinely inspires me and motivates me, both as a performer and as a fan. Yeah. And so, like, wherever I go and whatever I do, I'm always spreading the gospel of Hood Slam.
That's awesome, man. Hey, you have a fan that does the same thing.
Fuck the fans.
Fuck me too.
Fuck.
Straight up. Hey, so you know, on every show, what we like to do, and I'm going to bring the picture out now just to coincide with what you just said.
Okay.
Is I'm going to show you a picture, and then you just kind of describe what it is here, and you know, just I guess you can say elaborate on what this exactly is.
So that picture was taken at the first Get Your Ass to March show, which is a joint show with Hood Slam and the band Arno Core, which is, let me see if I can get this right, they're the world's greatest action-adventure rock and roll band. I think that's what they call themselves. And if you're not familiar with Arno Core, every one of their songs is inspired by an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie or quote or character or something, and everyone in the band is in complete like Arnold Schwarzenegger mode, like, yeah, exactly, ballsy, yeah, that's right. Like, they just nail it. And cool. So March of this past year and the year before, they were the musical guests at Hood Slam, and so that shot was taken when Graf, the lead singer, was just body surfing right in front of the ring, and as he was singing, the band was in the ring playing, and I was up on the ropes just with the booze in one hand and just arms outstretched like, come at me, bro. And it was just, that was one of those moments where I'm just like, I mean, at the time, of course, I mean, on the picture you can see that it's just freaking packed. Oh, yeah. So just wall-to-wall people, but also just afterwards seeing that picture, it was like, that's, in the snapshots of my career, that's going to be one of them. That was just an amazing picture. I got goosebumps when I saw it, and just talking about that moment right now, it gives me chills again. So,
oh, dude, that's exciting.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, I mean, you definitely are heading in the right direction of having a solid career, dude. I mean, 13 years in the game, you're doing a lot of things that other people haven't had the opportunity to do, so that's really exciting. I even recently found out you were on Gut Check. I missed that part.
Yeah, I mean, I can touch on that real quick.
Yeah,
I was TNA Gut Check. It was all right. You know, it was a seminar led by D'Lo Brown when TNA came to Sacramento, and you know, though, it just got to the point where I was just like, the promo that got me the most attention on Tough Enough was when I kind of shot a little bit and was just like, I knew where I stood in the competition, so I was just like, I don't need to take a risk and just let it all hang out. I did that with TNA Gut Check too, and just kind of cut this promo about how, you know, TNA is just kind of like, they suck.
So you went out there and just kept it real.
I just kept it real, but I cut a hell of a promo in the process.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I obviously didn't want to. TNA wasn't my first choice. WWE was, but it was like, you know, let's see if I can ride this little bit of fame that I got from Tough Enough and see if I can get signed by TNA. Maybe I can get signed by them and eventually go to WWE.
Yeah.
But then it just got to the point where it's just like, this is I'm not inspired right now. I don't really want to be a part of pro wrestling if this is how I'm going to feel about it.
Just comes back to the blue tights, AJ Kirsch.
Yeah,
AJ Kirsch.
I didn't want to do that. And even if I went to TNA, even if I was signed by Impact Wrestling, like the fans would still just be like, "Oh, that's just AJ from Tough Enough."
Yeah.
So even if I was, because wrestling fans, I mean, to their credit, they don't really forget, but also that can be to a fault sometimes, where they just. I remember when Bray Wyatt first made his debut, and people were chanting Husky Harris. Like, you fucking dicks. Let him try to be a different character.
Yeah, if you really like him, help him out, right? Yeah.
And he's turned into one of the most compelling characters on WWE TV in the last several years. But I just... fuck the fans, man. They can be fucking assholes.
Oh man, that's awesome. Like that's good stuff.
For example, if you go to a show, you chant "you fucked up," fuck you. I dare you to get in the ring and do what those guys do. You paid your money and you're allowed to chant and say whatever you want, but they know they fucked up. They don't need you to fucking point it out. So if you chant "you fucked up" at a show, fuck you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Now it's to everybody who says you fucked up at a show.
Yeah.
All of them.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
You fucked up by chanting "you fucked up."
Oh man, well it's been awesome, man. I really appreciate this. We'll definitely maybe we'll catch up again later.
Yeah,
in the
man.
future.
I mean,
you know what I do want to plug is I heard that you got a podcast.
I do.
Or you're in the process.
I'm in the process. Yeah. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I recently got laid off. Yay! So
I don't know if that's good news or bad news.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. But I have the time to do it now. So I've always wanted to do it. It's going to be called Find Your Grind. And it's going to be about, people that are just pursuing their passions and everything that they go through to figure out what makes them happy and find a way to make it happen.
Is it all wrestling or is it just
No, it's
all
everything.
entertainment?
It's
cool.
Not just pro wrestling, it's musicians and actors and live performers, but also I want to get into stuff like music and dating and sex and politics and fitness and just all this stuff that a lot of people, things that I've dabbled in over the course of my career, and things that people, just may need to hear, that they're not necessarily alone when they're trying to figure out what makes them happy. So keep an eye out for it. It should be coming out really soon. I've got a couple interviews in the bank. It's just a matter of putting together some bookends to introduce them into an intro and an outro. But it's going to be coming real soon, and it should be available on iTunes shortly. So
you know where you're going to find it. And Find Your Grind, I'd just like to mention that makes me think of you immediately because you have the hashtag you use often.
Yeah, I've been using it for a long time.
Yeah, you really have.
It's.
But what I was going to say, though, is where you're going to find this specific podcast is by following AJ Kirsch.
Yes, you can.
On Twitter.
Yep. At AJ Kirsch.
At AJ Kirsch.
Kirsch.
Also, just to throw it out there, Bro J Brody.
Yes.
You don't want to forget about showing a little love for Brosif.
Right.
That's Twitter.
Separate social media feeds for the Brosif character. At Bro J Brody on Instagram and Twitter, and Facebook.com/BrosifJoeBrody.
That's exciting stuff. Do you have a like page on Facebook as well as friend requests?
I do. Facebook.com/IamAJKirsch is my public page. You can like me, all my upcoming events and pictures and videos and all kind of shit. But yeah, find me. You can find me on the regular Facebook too. I accept all friend requests. So
it's definitely all worth checking out, guys. I'm a huge fan.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me on, man.
So
this
much.
is a pleasure.
It's awesome, exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And until we meet again, my friend.
Fuck yeah.
Thanks, guys. This is Allstate Chris with NorCal Tonight.